Hello, Giants fans, and welcome to the Valentine's Views podcast for Friday, July 7th. I'm your host, Ed Valentine of Big Blue View. Wanted to talk today about Saquon Barkley's contract situation with the New York Giants. We are now basically 10 days away from the July 17 deadline for Barkley and the Giants to reach a long-term deal, which would prevent Barkley from having to play the 2023 season on the $10.091 million franchise tag, or if Barkley really wanted to push the envelope for him to hold out in training camp or sit out the season, which I have said previously. I think that although Barkley said he would have to think about that, he would have to talk about that with his agent, with his family. I think I've said before that's a hollow threat. I see no way that Barkley would ever sit out the season, would walk away from $10 million, would damage his career and his reputation and his legacy in New York that way. So I see no way that if push comes to shove and a deal doesn't get done, that Barkley does not end up signing the franchise tag. But truth is, I still believe that a deal is going to get done. Nothing has changed, really. We've heard no new reporting about any new offers made by the Giants, any new numbers being bandied about. But I continue to believe, just like the negotiations with Daniel Jones came right down to the deadline, I continue to believe that once we get right down to the July 17th deadline, that Barkley and the Giants will come to a deal. I think that the reality of it is, Joe Shane may not have drafted Saquon Barkley. He may not be a general manager who believes in drafting running backs as highly as the Giants did Barkley during the Dave Gettleman era. But I think that Joe Shane and head coach Brian Daboll recognize that with Saquon Barkley, they not only have an incredibly talented player, arguably the most talented player on the Giants roster, and we can argue about what the advanced metrics, what the advanced statistics say about how good Barkley actually is. But the reality of it is, Barkley's value to the New York Giants extends beyond his yards per carry. It extends beyond his total yardage. There's tremendous value for Barkley in the locker room. He's got a lot of friends in that locker room. He's got a lot of power in that locker room. The damage that it would do to the locker room if the Giants and Barkley didn't get a deal done, if Saquon actually did follow through on his threat to sit out or to even hold out, the damage that would get done, the ill feelings that would be created, I think are something that Joe Shane understands he doesn't want to deal with. Things have gone very, very well for Shane and the Giants since Shane took over from Gettleman as GM. And I don't think that Joe wants to undo a lot of the goodwill that he's created. I don't think he wants to damage the culture that Brian Daboll has been able to establish in the locker room. I think that he understands what Barkley means, not only to the team on the field, but to the organization, to the fan base, to ownership, all of those things. And while you're not necessarily paying for those things, I think that Joe understands that he has to get a deal done here. And I think that the Giants will get that done. I also think that Barkley understands that his place in New York, his legacy in New York, his standing in New York is greater at this point than it's going to be anywhere else, which of course means that the Giants are going to pay him more than anyone else would likely pay him at this point in time, which leads us to, how does this actually get done? What numbers, what number of years, what does a deal eventually look like? We've looked at that at Big Blue View a couple of times. I have been an advocate of a 3-year, $39 million deal with 26 million guaranteed. Really, the first 2 years of that contract fully guaranteed. Had Big Blue View contributor Rivka Board work up a couple of contract structures, one being a 3-year, $39 million deal, another being the 4-year, $52 million deal, and figuring out how the guaranteed money would work in those contracts. Looking at the signing bonus, all of that. Check out our story stream on Big Blue View, Saquon Barkley contract update story stream, which has all of our coverage of the Barkley situation, and we'll continue to have updates on that going forward over the next couple of weeks. You'll find Rivka's story in there. You'll find all of our coverage over the past few months, few weeks about the Barkley situation. You'll find everything we've written and talked about on the podcast in that story stream. So if you've missed any of that, please do check it out. As I said, I look at this. Barkley can make, if the Giants were to franchise tag him 2 years in a row, that's $22 million in change in guaranteed money. Christian McCaffrey's contract includes the most guaranteed money given to a running back. That's $30.062 million. So really, when you look at it, the sweet spot for a Barkley deal has to be somewhere between that 22 and $30 million. Barkley's not going to reset the market. I would be stunned if the Giants were to give him more guaranteed money than McCaffrey. I don't think they have any intention of doing that. So for me, the sweet spot for a deal comes somewhere between 26 million guaranteed, 28 million guaranteed, maybe 29 million guaranteed. We'll have to see where it falls. But I think I I would prefer a 3-year deal. I think it may end up having to be a 4-year deal, but that's really semantics. What matters is the guaranteed money and how many years the guaranteed money is spread over. I think the Giants will very much want to keep the guaranteed money to 2 years, to 2023 and 2024. Former sports agent Joel Corey was on this show a few weeks ago talking about Barkley's contract. He recently wrote something at CBS Sports about the various running backs, including Josh Jacobs, who are looking for new contracts. And he proposed a contract for Barkley structured similarly to the one that Derrick Henry got from the Tennessee Titans in the 2020 season when Henry had been franchise tagged by Tennessee. At that time, Henry got a 4-year, $50 million deal, $12.5 million in average annual value, with 25.5 million fully guaranteed. So just above half of the contract fully guaranteed. Those guarantees were spread over the first 2 seasons with no guaranteed salary over the last 2 years. I would think that Barkley and the Giants will come to an agreement on a similar type structure where the guaranteed money is only 2 years. I think that I know Saquon is talking about wanting respect, and I'm not exactly sure how he defines respect. I guess we'll find out. But I think that a deal of 3 to 4 years with guaranteed money in that 26 to 28 million dollar range is more than fair, is more than respectful for the Giants. Mike Garofalo of NFL Network was on the podcast a couple of months back and said that the contract offers that the Giants have made to Barkley in this depressed running back market have been more than fair. And honestly, I have to agree with that. All right, before we go, I just wanted to touch base on a couple of things regarding Barkley, a couple things that folks have emailed to me lately regarding ways that they think that this could be settled. Had an email the other day from Mark Risk suggesting basically that Daniel Jones give up a couple $1 million of his salary per year to and basically with the caveat to the Giants that they give that money to Barkley. And, and, and I don't know where stuff like that comes from, Mark. Come on, in your email you said don't give me the answer that's naive and it just doesn't happen, but that really is something that just doesn't happen. Daniel Jones is not going to go to his agent and his family and the Giants and say, I want to give back a couple $1 million of my contract. I want to give back $8 million over the next 4 years on and have the Giants put it in writing that the Giants give that money to Saquon. That's not going to get anything done. Daniel Jones' contract is Daniel Jones' contract. Daniel Jones can put pressure on the Giants simply by being vocal about saying he wants Saquon Barkley there, that he needs Saquon Barkley to succeed, that the Giants need Saquon Barkley to succeed, and that he would really like to see this deal get done. Giving up his own money, I mean, that is, I hate to take and give the naive answer, but Mark, that is something that is just not done. Players do on occasion. Tom Brady, for years took less money than he probably could have made, but Tom Brady was also married to a woman who was richer than he was. Tom Brady didn't need the money. Tom Brady was making plenty of money as it was and could afford to do that. I mean, you're asking Daniel Jones to give up money probably on the richest contract he'll ever get. And I just it's silly to even really think that a player would do something like that. Also had an email from Bob Donnelly asking why the Giants couldn't circumvent the salary cap by using insurance, sort of off the balance sheet insurance. And I'll be honest, I'm not quite sure how that would work, taking out some sort of an insurance policy on Barkley that the Giants would pay for, that would take the place of some of a signing bonus or something like that, I guess is Bob's idea. I'm not 100% sure. But listen, there are rules against circumventing the salary cap. The salary cap is there for a reason. It is there so that accounting is done a certain way, so that players are paid a certain way, so that teams' finances are judged a certain way. Teams in the past have been fined. They have lost draft picks. Most recent example, the Houston Texans lost a 2023 draft pick and were fined $175,000 for not properly reporting money that had been paid to Deshaun Watson, I believe, during the 2020 season. Other teams, the Denver Broncos have been fined. The Pittsburgh Steelers have been penalized. There are rules for how the salary cap operates, for how players are to be paid, for how the accounting is supposed to be done. It's not the wild, wild west out there. If these things could be done, don't you think that they would have been done before now? The cap is there for a reason. The cap is there largely to enforce or to try to enforce or try to create competitive balance. Teams that try to circumvent it get penalized. So that's not going to happen. The whatever deal comes down here will be done in a traditional way, will be done using roster bonus, signing bonus, guarantees, maybe a void year or two at the end of the contract. We'll have to see how that all plays out in the end. But as I said at the beginning of the show, Giants fans, I believe that a deal will get done. There'll be a lot of reporting, a lot of speculation, a lot to discuss about Barkley over the next couple of weeks. Hopefully, you'll stay with Big Blue View as we as we keep you guys up to date as much as possible. Also, I hope you guys have been checking out all of our coverage throughout the summer. We've been posting position previews. We've been posting player profiles. We've been posting what we're calling making the case uh, posts, looking at what might be some of the best position battles coming up in training camp for the Giants. Hope that you guys have been checking out all of that. If not, please come on by the site and look for those pieces. I'm sure that they'll help you guys get ready for training camp as we look forward to the 2023 Giants season. All right, Giants fans, thank you as always for listening. Please stay safe out there, take care of each other, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.